Welcome to Scream Queens Horror Movie Road Trip Podcast. Hey, final girl.
Hey there, Soul Survivor.
How are you, Justine?
I'm doing good, Josh. Just riding around with you. That's what I'm doing, so it's grand.
We are currently going over some kind of swamp situation here in Kansas.
Swamp?
It's
a watery, boggy area.
A swamp.
Yeah. Well, but we're not in the swamp area,
No.
though. We're up the plains.
We're in the plains of Kansas. We're heading up to Kansas City, Missouri. Actually.
Yeah, we're not going to be in Kansas forever.
So we'll get out of Kansas and be like, oh, Toto, we're not in Kansas anymore. We'll make jokes. Jokes will be made.
You might not hear them.
They will be corny.
And that's okay, but they're not horny.
We won't laugh, but we will say
we'll
them.
make them all the same.
That's right.
They're the dad jokes that everybody
Are you
knows.
wondering why we're going to Kansas City, Missouri?
I doubt they give a fuck, Josh.
I think they care.
Okay, fine.
Well,
let's tell them then.
We are heading to Kansas City, Missouri to the National Museum of Toys and Miniatures.
Oh, really?
And on the way, you're going to listen to us talk about Hereditary.
That's right, because how we're tying this in is one of the characters is a miniaturist.
Yeah.
She creates miniature houses. So we're going to go see a whole bunch of miniature doll houses.
Yeah, if you've seen the movie, you can probably totally understand why we're choosing this spot to cover the movie, because the theme has a lot to do with these miniatures. It's the character is making these miniatures throughout. Yeah. It's kind of like a motif, a theme that runs through the film, and we'll get into that as we speak
when we're talking about the film.
When we're talking about the film.
Because we're going to talk film.
Because this isn't just a movie. This is cinema.
This is cinema.
At the highest artistic level.
It's pretty high. There's an artistic level.
It's definitely bonkers.
And it's there.
And we're going to jump into it. This is the feature film debut.
Oh, we don't want to tell them anything else about the National Museum?
Yeah, I guess we should. We'll get into the film debut here in just a moment.
Just a second. Only because we did a little bit of research 5 seconds ago about it. So it would seem a waste.
How could I have forgotten? So yeah, the National
Museum.
National. This means it's important.
Yes, it does mean that it's on a national scale. And nationally, it's being graded, and in the nation,
nationally funded.
It's the nation. It's one of the nation's largest antique toy public displays.
Well,
so that's why we're going to
slap my ass and call me Sally.
I don't know if I should do those things. If consensually you wanted me to slap your ass.
Well, you have it on record that I said it. So you're going to be like, Judge, listen to episode 48 of Hereditary. He says, slap my ass and call me Sally. I did it.
He mentions ass slapping and Sally naming. Okay, so
I've been Sally named.
We're going to go see some doll houses, and apparently it's one of the nation's largest collections. And then also...
Of a certain type of miniature. What is it?
It's the world's largest fine scale miniature collection.
Fine scale.
Scale.
These aren't rough.
These aren't it's okay.
This is fine.
Yeah,
scale.
That's good.
But you know what, Justine, you and I are on the fine.
That's
scale
right.
Too.
I totally agree. I'm
body positivity over here.
Scale fine.
We are on the fine scale.
My scales are super fine. I am very scaly.
She's talking about her mermaid scales.
Guys, I'm a mermaid, and my tail must be kept in salt water.
It's like a whole splash situation.
I'm kind of like the lighthouse mermaid.
Oh, so super horny and evil?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that describes you.
She's a siren in the water, pulling men, luring them to the dark depths of the ocean.
Into their death.
Yes.
All right, moving on.
Yeah, we're not talking about that movie.
So yeah, I'm actually kind of intrigued about this museum. I mean, it's kind of wacky. We're driving 6 hours, but we're also going to eat a shit ton of barbecue. We're going to have fun in Kansas City tonight.
Ooh, I'm going to eat my weight in some burnt ends.
Some burnt ends.
Ends that are Bart!
Yeah, that's lit.
You sound like an older.
That's so lit.
Yeah. The kids today are probably listening to this and are like, Uncle Josh, geez, lit. You're so funny.
Well, I was making it. It was because you said you were talking about burnt
ends.
ends. I was like, that's lit.
We're gonna get to some burnt ends in the movie as well.
People are gonna be barbecued.
There's some barbecuing.
Get ready for the barbecue.
Some Kansas City barbecuing and some Hereditary barbecuing.
So yeah, like I was saying earlier, film debut of Ari Aster. He's before this was just a student at AFI, made some crazy ass short films.
They were bonkers.
Someone gave him some money. He wrote a script.
A24
or vice
gave him
versa.
money.
He wrote a script.
Yeah.
Someone gave him money.
Yes.
And he made one of last decade now's. We're saying last decade.
Yeah, like welcome to the new year.
Best horror movies of last decade.
Mm-hmm.
It will probably stand the test of time.
Yeah,
it's very decisive. Some people don't dig it at all, but
even people that don't
spoiler,
dig it, mention like it's good.
Yeah.
It's well made. It's a well crafted film.
And especially for a film debut, it's very confident. Like he knows what he's doing. He makes choices and he sticks with them.
That's exactly what you want in a director. Somebody who just stands by their decisions and isn't wishy-washy.
You feel like, this guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah. He's a good study. You know, he's
he paid attention at film school.
He's been influenced, and then he allows those influences to, it be inspiring, but yet, he's not, completely driven by those. He's also creating kind of his own bar, his own level. Now we're going to be comparing other filmmakers to Ari Aster's, horror.
He has his own aesthetic. Now, with the 2 movies of his out, that means something in an Ari Aster film. People know what vibe to expect. They know they're going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be cringeworthy. It's going to be over the top, and
it's also going to be beautiful.
Maybe
and the cinematography is going to be great. It's colorful, even though it's hard to watch at times.
Might be a slow burn, but once it gets going, they get going.
Yes.
Something always has to do with something in an Ari Aster film. But the cast is just as incredible too. You have Toni Collette given one of the performances of last decade, and somehow still didn't get an Oscar nomination.
What a snub!
She should have won, and then she didn't even get nominated. But
it's disgusting, Academies. You should just be ashamed.
Lawsuit.
For fucking sure, lawsuit.
Lawsuit for fucking over Toni Collette.
Oh my gosh, Toni, we're taking him to court, honey.
That's kind of an inside joke between the final girl and I. Anytime there's something we don't like, we say lawsuit.
Lawsuit. Welcome to our world, guys.
To our world.
Everything is a lawsuit, or it could be.
Shout out to Miss Shane out there.
Other teachers
friend of
out
ours.
there. Yeah,
lawsuit.
Likes
to say that too. But moving on, Toni Collette, Gabriel Byrne, who's very sympathetic and
oh my gosh,
fatherly.
He wins the endearing husband award, who just sits there and understands. And
because the film starts where you kind of get a sense that they have a good marriage. They're very kind to each other. There's going to be a funeral at the beginning. That's how the movie starts, at a funeral, and she says something like, I feel like I should be more sad, and he's like, no, you feel however you need to be. So they're very understanding of each other's feelings.
Yes.
Yeah, they seem to have a good camaraderie, but that will slowly unwind through the film.
Mm-hmm. Everything falls apart. This is a film where you watch unraveling take place.
Mm-hmm.
Alex, out of their hands.
Completely. And Alex Wolff plays the son, Peter.
Yes.
He's really great in this as well.
Peter.
Very convincing teenager.
Yes.
At times, uncomfortably so. His performance feels really raw.
It feels real. It feels like probably exactly what I would have done. Or I don't blame him for his actions, because it's it seems honest.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yep, and we're going to talk about that. Millie Shapiro.
Yeah, Millie Shapiro.
Honorary Tony Award-winning actress Millie Shapiro.
Who was in Matilda.
Yes, that's
Broadway's
where
Matilda.
she got her honorary Tony.
This is her first film
Yep.
Obviously was a stage actress.
But she's
scary
remarkable.
as fuck as Charlie.
Yeah.
She's one of the most menacing, kind of aloof, like.
She definitely there's
spacey.
It's almost like, was Charlie Millie Shapiro or Millie Shapiro Charlie? You know, like that role was made exactly for her. She was perfect. Like she just became
Charlie.
That's what
Payment.
Oh my gosh, we've got hurry. We gotta Ann Dowd. Who doesn't fucking love Ann Dowd? Tell me. Do you not out there?
She goes from being super like, oh, your great aunt to scary as hell.
She's what we're all fearful that our great aunts have in their closets. You know, like we're all wondering, is that great aunt of mine really that just sweet, or is she a devil worshipping kind of lady on the side?
Yeah.
The latter for Anne.
The latter.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
Okay. Oh,
so
man.
let's dive in. The movie starts with
the obituary.
An obituary, and it acts almost like a prologue in a way, like lets you know like someone has died, gives you a rundown of this family.
It's like a Star Wars scroll.
Yeah.
Like it just lets you know what happened before, which is that a woman named Ellen Lee died. She had a daughter who she was leaving behind, but she had also lost her husband and her son, and we learned just a little bit about this maybe sad family.
Yeah, it kind of sets up the next scene, which is the actual funeral, and you see the players it was just talking about, like the survivors, you know how she was survived by. So we see everybody there.
Named off.
We see Annie, Toni Collette, her family. They're sitting there listening to Toni Collette give a...
Well, there's the opening of the tree house. That's the next shot.
That's right. Yeah. It starts with the miniature. That's right.
We open up and the first shot is this tree house. We get this view out of a window, and then the camera turns around and pans over, and we see we're in like a work studio in a house, and it's like a forested area. It looks a little like secluded, but it's all taking place in Utah. So it's nice and pretty and picturesque.
And it pushes into this miniature of this house
this replica of the house that we just saw.
And then once it pushes in even closer, it becomes real.
Yes.
They're now living in the miniature.
There's a boy that's sleeping in a bed that's not a miniature anymore. It's actually like Alex Wolff, Peter, the little boy. Not the little boy, he's a teenager. And then his dad, Gabriel Byrne, walks in.
And says, hey, come on, we got to get up, we got to get going. Did your sister sleep outside? I'm like, why the hell is she sleeping outside? We'll find out she's up in that tree house, sleeping away. They get her up. Family's on the way to the funeral.
Toni Collette, Annie, is already in the car, and they're still trying to find the kids that are asleep in bed. It's a little strange, but so they got to go to the funeral, and it's of her mother, and she gives a eulogy that is, you could just tell, they didn't have a good relationship. She's kind of immediately admitting that even talking about her mom is a betrayal of sorts.
Yeah, she's using it as a weird moment of catharsis. She's just letting go of saying we didn't always get along, but and it makes for a very awkward eulogy.
Yeah. It's it's like a confession of sorts. It's did she even need the people there? She looks around and says it's strange to see all these unfamiliar faces.
Yeah,
but my mother had private rituals and private friends, and so I almost expected to see people that I didn't know sitting here. So in a way, it doesn't matter.
And we see Charlie, the little girl, sitting with Gabriel Byrne and her brother, and she's scribbling, she's drawing pictures, she's making this clucking noise with her tongue.
Yeah, it's very pronounced though. I've been trying.
I can't get it down.
Trying to practice it, but
it's a very loud.
She's got that clunk down, and she's always doodling, very withdrawn. She doesn't speak much, and when she does, it's mumbles, and she always looks entranced.
You get the sense that she's very observant. She's always watching, drawing. She's noticing things at the funeral. She notices somebody come by and put something on her grandmother's lips.
Yeah, like an oil that they just kind of rub on them.
And you get the sense it's just a random woman. not anybody that's really related to the family, because it's not a character we've been introduced to.
Yeah.
Or obviously a character of any importance. So they're already setting up, like Justine was saying, like these characters that no one's ever seen before that came to the funeral. And setting up like the rituals, like why did someone just come and put this moisturizer on her lips?
Like she doesn't need it, honey. She's dead. But thanks, like for self-care. And Charlie's eating a chocolate bar, and
another setup.
And we've got to tell you all these things because it's major for this movie. Is like, hi, I love to foreshadow. Here, I'm just basically telling you what's going to happen.
Yeah, he does a good job of setting up a lot of things, like things that you hear in Act 1 are going to come back later.
He's like a man of his word. He pays off. Like if he introduces something, that's going to have a payoff.
You might get the sense like, okay, I know this is going to come in, but you don't really know how or why.
And it's almost the anticipation of it. You know it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So when does it happen? Where? Why? What's the circumstance going to be?
And
that's the scary thing.
And that's what's so effective about this movie is all the layers of dread. You just keep dreading different things because if you watch movies, setup and payoff.
Yeah.
So you're seeing all these things being laid out, and you're like, oh, when's it going to happen? What's going to happen? They're already telling us she's allergic to nuts, so what's going to happen?
Yeah, Gabriel Burns or Steve walks up to his daughter and is like, does that have nuts in it?
Yeah.
And she's like, no. Like, she's kind of an age where she should probably be like aware of her nut allergy.
Yeah, and
so
Toni Collette throws out that line like, "Oh, good, because we didn't bring the EpiPen."
Yeah.
So there they
so
are.
She's
they lay out.
She's full on gonna have a reaction that could kill her if she eats things with nuts. But she's not like a little girl. She does. I mean, I guess like she has
13.
Some facial kind of deformities, and so but she's got like. She's supposed to be 13, but I don't know, like, if, like, how she's acting is supposed to be because she might be consumed by something.
Yeah. Did you just say she has facial deformities? Does she?
Like, her nose is a little concave.
Are you calling her out? I'm just kidding.
No, I'm not.
I'm kidding. I'm trying to make jokes.
Okay. Well, yeah, no, I just mean, like, that's also a part of, unfortunately, what makes it all so unsettling is that, like...
her face.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
I'm just picking on you.
I was also about to mention that the atmosphere, it's always been dreadful. Like, these characters...
And they do treat her like there's something wrong
like,
her.
Yeah, like that she's maybe not completely supposed to be playing a character that's got all the wherewithal. That's what I'm saying about, like, she's 13 and should be able to know when she's eating something that has nuts in it, but they're also asking her, are you eating something with nuts in it?
Yeah, she's
so does she have wherewithal? I don't know. I'm just mentioning it. I'm not making fun of anything or
no,
trying
you're
to...
Not. I'm
clarifying now for anybody that's listening. Like, I'm not. Okay, don't eat nuts.
Yeah.
So she sees people that are kind of staring at the family at the funeral and whispering and like there's a lot of like people from afar in this movie that are watching one of the characters and having this menacing smile, and it's very uncomfortable. It just, again, the atmosphere is like it's off kilter.
It's almost
everybody's
like
a little
smile
weird
because they have something to gain. Like they're looking at them like, haha.
Like we're getting you, we're putting our claws into you.
Yeah, you're gonna help us.
You're gonna fall for our trap.
You're gonna help us succeed in our wicked ways.
You might not know it.
I love wicked ways.
Wicked ways. So, okay, the funeral's over and they go back home and we meet their little doggy.
Oh, cute.
And you know, in a horror movie, if you get introduced to a loving animal, chances are it's gonna end up dying.
Yeah.
Thanks, Halloween, and then
every
all
other
movies
movie.
before, like. Okay, so we meet their little guard dog. She's just a barker. She's just a little barker.
Oh, little
She's
Bob
cute,
Barker.
But like, she loves her family.
That's
Annie,
all we have to
yeah.
say about the dog.
Annie kind of like just everybody. This is a good scene where it shows that like everybody in this house doesn't really naturally want to hang out with each other. Everybody
they
goes
all
to their
start
own
separating.
rooms.
The only thing said between them is take your shoes off.
Yeah, like don't fuck up the carpet, the wood floors or whatever. And then everybody just goes to their respective rooms. Dad, Steve, is kind of this like anchor for everybody. He goes and checks in on everyone.
He's the most engaged, for sure.
We find out why, because he's a psychologist, and so he's a little like wanting to be in all their heads and helping them deal with. Everybody just seems to be very introverted. Annie in her workroom is always coming up with like ways to deal with her emotions by creating a miniature of a scene of her life. And so Steve happens in on her and is like being supportive, and Charlie's off being sad about her grandma.
Yeah, you find out that she was really close with her grandma, the closest, and they make weird little references to like, yeah, mother would feed her, but you don't quite understand what that means yet.
Yeah, like I thought maybe it just meant like she bottle fed her.
But she means like titty fed.
And we find that out at the end of this scene. She goes back into her workroom and
she had made a little diorama, a little miniature of that happening.
Of that scene, and we see this miniature grandma with this huge engorged breast that is she's breastfeeding her granddaughter. Like, I don't even want to
lactate. Like,
no, that woman has gone through menopause. She was 78 when she died. Like, that means something crazy's going on. If you're breastfeeding at 78...
no, she wasn't breastfeeding at 78. It was 13 years earlier. It would have been 65.
Yeah,
but still.
All right, Josh.
Odd.
You got me there.
Maybe she went through really late menopause.
Really late menopause.
I mean, I'm not a lady doctor.
You are a lady, though.
I used to
be. You are a lady, though. So.
Do look like a lady.
Okay, so yeah, Charlie is also telling her mom, like, so who's going to take care of me whenever you die? And
she's like, well, one, you're being morbid.
Yeah, like, okay, I guess this is your grieving process, is to now ask yourself who's going to take care of you when any of us dies. But
she's like, well, your dad, and then if not him, then Peter.
Yeah, and she just leaves her with this idea, mom's just trying to comfort her, and it's
if
like,
not him, the
special.
children's nursing home.
Yeah, we'll send you to somewhere, honey.
The state hospital.
Yeah, or you'll be
okay.
adopted or something. I don't know. Let's not worry about it right now. Like, I'm gonna give you a hug and kiss and get my tits out of here.
You're not gonna suck on mine. Grandma's gone.
Yeah, I don't know what you're gonna do about breastfeeding tonight, but guys, the family is
looks like you're not getting dinner anymore, honey.
The family's a little different. It's a new normal kind of family. Maybe.
Tits out.
I hope everybody's reaction to that little diorama was
cringe.
What?
Shock and awe.
Like a huge question mark emoji, top of the head kind of thing. Like, I don't know what's going on here. Oh, mama. So, okay. So she leaves, and Annie goes into her workroom.
Is this when she looks through the boxes?
Yeah, she goes through she starts to go through the boxes. She finds a book, and in the book is a handwritten letter. And it's from her mom, kind of saying vague things.
Yeah, very vague, kind of wishy-washy. Like, I've always loved you. Please forgive me. You'll understand one day. We're gonna...
The sacrifices that we all will make. And you're kind of like, wait, what? We're still making them?
Yeah.
So
we'll pay off in the end.
She doesn't search anywhere. It kind of like turns her off from wanting to go through.
She sees a book though about spiritualism.
Yeah, and she's just kind of like, okay, whatever. Mom's talking shit even in her grave. Puts the boxes back and walks towards the door, turns the light off, and looks back over at the area that she was just in, almost like her gaze was pulled that way, like something was there. Camera looks over, and
there's Grandma in the corner.
There's her mother in the corner.
Yeah, her mother.
It's an obvious apparition because she's not.
And she's giving that creepy smile.
She's
that we
just
see a
giving
lot in
this like, something's gonna happen smile, and it's great for me.
Yeah.
Toni Collette turns the light back on.
Granny's gone.
Well, her mother's gone.
Granny gone.
Granny gone because it's Charlie's.
Grandma,
yeah, okay. Granny gone.
Granny gone.
Oh, for the sake of the Granny gone.
It's the sequel to Gone Girl.
Gone Girl. Granny gone.
Granny
oh my God, are we gonna write that?
Gone.
We should at least tell that Gillian Flynn or whatever.
Yeah, like you've got to do
you've
the
got to
sequel.
do Granny gone.
Granny gone.
Granny gone. Gone Granny.
Gone
Oh
Granny.
my gosh, guys. We're going to make so much not money and from all of our ideas. Okay.
You guys better not rip us off, okay?
Because fruition's happening for us. Okay.
Hashtag we're getting
Granny
that
gone.
copyrighted.
Hashtag Granny gone. Have we always put a hashtag in like almost every podcast?
You gotta hashtag it.
We gotta keep doing it. We can't stop, won't stop. We're not gonna have. That's already a hashtag.
Hashtag can't stop, won't stop.
That's already a hashtag. Hashtag can't stop, won't stop. Okay, we're getting back into the movie, guys, because we got to keep on track. This is a batshit movie crazy. It's crazy, batshit crazy.
Reel us in, girl.
Okay, so we get to Charlie next day at school, and she is putting herself. She's a little artiste herself. She likes to take discarded trash and just discarded objects and create works of...
She does found art. Found object art.
Found object art. Thank you.
Found object
Thank you, my film school friend.
She puts it together, bit by bit.
Putting it together, bit by bit.
We gotta sing a little bit of a
Sunny
show
in the
tune.
Park with George, guys. Okay.
No, I love it.
So she is... it's during a quiz, too. So she's, like, putting together a little toy she's making.
I have like a pill bottle and some shit, right?
And like branches.
No, I mean
and...
like shit. There's literal.
No, there's not literal shit.
This isn't the scene where she's making stuff
It's
out
not
of
the
food?
scene where she eats shit. That's in a John Waters film.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So she's sitting at her desk, not taking her quiz, and her teacher's all like, "Bitch, take that quiz now!" and slaps her on the face. And there's just that whole scene did not happen just now.
Yeah. She yells at her, so I'm going to
No,
slap
she's like
them.
a really sweet teacher, walks up and is like, "How about we weigh with the toy and let's take her quiz?"
What do you think about that?
What? How about that?
They're like, oh, you're giving her choices,
Yeah.
teacher?
And she's like, "Yeah, that sounds like a good choice."
Yeah.
Puts her toy away and looks over at the window. Boom. A bird. We get one of our only jump scares, which is a bird hitting the window. I guess it dies.
But guys, no animals were harmed in the making of this movie.
I mean, except for this bird.
I checked the end.
Well, I watched it to the end, and then it said except for that bird. Except for that bird.
We launched it into the pane of glass.
Thankfully, it was just one bird. They just eliminated one bird.
They did it in one take. It was
One
just
take,
one bird.
and then she...
He died for cinema. Okay?
Cinema,
It's like
death.
one of the most honorable ways to die.
Yeah.
It's for cinema.
For country or for cinema. So yeah, we get a little jump scare. It hits the class window, and scene ends. She just looking out like, that bird. I'm gonna get that bird. And when she looks out the window, I'm gonna
This
get
is
that
like
bird.
a little cat.
When she looks out like the window, she can see like a lady across the street looking at her, like
giving that grin.
There's again just a lot of times where a character is gonna look out, out of ways, and there's gonna be someone staring back at him or yelling at him or something.
Yeah, with a smile on their face. I
Yeah.
don't think there's anything more ominous than that. Just someone creepily smiling at you from a distance.
And you just want to be like, "What you staring at?"
And they won't take their gaze off of you.
And they're really happy about something. Something's got to do with something.
And then they whip their dick out.
Pull their dick out, and then they just start like whacking it like up against their own thigh.
Yeah.
Until it.
I hate that in a movie.
So crazy.
It just sometimes takes me out of the moment.
It's a little too primal.
Yeah. I know people do that in real life all the time.
All the time. Sometimes we'll just be standing on one side of a street, and then on the other side of a street,
it's like
will be someone whipping their dick out,
it's
just
like,
staring at us.
Fuck, I see that so much in real life. Do I really want to pay to see that in a movie?
I know. Like, Ari, don't you know what my life is like? It's just dick slap. Today's end, Oh, shit. Okay, all right.
Let's know if you're sick of that, too.
Sick of that dick slapping. That doesn't happen.
Okay,
There's dicks out, too, guys.
We'll
but
see
it's
some
not,
dick later, but no one's slapping
no
on
one's
their
slapping
thigh.
nobody. No, there's no...
Been cooler if there was.
Oh, good. Oh God. Okay. So we've seen Charlie in class. Now we get to see Peter in class, and Peter, he's paying really close attention
The girl's
to
butt.
a girl's booty, But it's not even like a girl's booty where like her butt cheeks are hanging out or like her thong's out. It's just like a girl with her butt covered.
It kind of reminded me of the Ice Storm, where there's that scene where the little boy's staring at Christina Ricci's butt crack, like in band class or something. Kind of reminded me of that, but with a lot less butt crack.
But with no butt crack.
No butt crack. Just
like a
G'd up butt.
A tad more respectful, but also like probably what like as a teenage straight boy you're like looking at like just like butt. Like
I'm just gonna look at her butt sitting in this chair.
I'm just imagine what might be.
And most of her butt
there.
She's sitting on, so it's
just a smidge
basically
butt.
like the back, but with jeans.
Like the pockets part.
Yeah.
Jeans.
And a shirt tucked in, so there's like no
butt
Not that
crack.
we want her to be objectified.
Not at all. That's what I'm saluting.
It's just funny that that's what he's staring at. It's this completely
he's just a little
jeaned up butt.
Teenage boy who wants butt.
He wants jean
butt.
He wants butt.
He gets a text message in class. His friends wanting to know.
Let's go smoke some pot.
Want to smoke some pot? We're
He's like, yeah,
living in Utah, but we're not Mormons. Want to smoke some pot? We can do that. We're really close to California. It's legal there.
We can just cross over.
Let's smoke some pot. And then what I love is it's a typical thing that happens in a horror movie where they have a scene take place in school where we're going to get a little foreshadowing based on the literature that the class is. And that's just a fun little trope that happens.
Of course, no one in class is paying attention except for the girl.
Yeah, and she is the one that's answering, telling us, like, what's going to happen? Yeah. Like I said, this movie is just an immeasurable amount of foreshadowing. Yeah. Like anywhere that the story could be pre-telling you what's happening, it's doing it. So yeah, it's doing it in this little classroom. And that's Peter. So Peter Pumpkin Pie.
He likes butt.
At home, Annie is doing more miniature work. We get a lot of scenes of her working on her miniatures and kind of dealing with her feelings and emotions about her mother's passing and then an eventual somebody else passing that.
You get the sense that this is how she copes. Like the things she couldn't deal with in life, she can deal with them in her miniatures. Mm-hmm. She didn't have any control over them in life. These things happen to her, but she can control it when she makes them, you know.
She can manipulate it how she wants it to look and feel. And
in a way, they're all being manipulated like the miniatures by this entity, this payment that we'll find out later that's kind of controlling everything behind the scenes.
Yes. We don't want to give too much away.
No, let's keep going.
Okay. So, but she gets distracted. She had been looking up apparition stuff because she had just seen an apparition. She thought of her mother, like her mind playing tricks on her kind of thing. Or was it? And so she's looking things up and she decides to go to her mom's room. But it's open and it seemed disturbed. Like there's furniture that looks like it's been moved around, revealing some symbols on her floor, and
it's like these three snaky-looking symbols.
Yeah,
together that you start seeing on everything.
We notice them when she's doing her eulogy that she's wearing a symbol of something, and her mother is as well. In her casket, but then we're starting to see it elsewhere in this movie. This symbol starts popping up. But what's also funny is she doesn't really, like, that's not what bothers her, is seeing the symbol. Like, we're not, like, I'm bothered by it, but it doesn't seem like Annie is bothered by seeing the symbol. She's more like, why is the furniture moved around? Yeah. And she notes that, like, when Steve comes home, she's like, did you touch things in my mom's room?
The door was open.
So
she makes him lock it.
And that's when he gets a call from the funeral home that her mother, or his mother-in-law's grave has been
desecrated.
And
he's like, well, I'm not going to tell her about it. Just keep me in touch about what's going on. Mm-hmm. She's like, peace out, I'm going to the movies. But you know what? She's not going to the movies.
She's not going. She's a liar, pants on fire.
She's going to a grief support group where she's going to spill her guts. She's going to talk about how she feels like her whole family blames her for everything, about her mother's history and being domineering and titty feeding her daughter.
Yeah, we learn a lot. We learn a lot about the mental illness that's plagued her family. Her mom having multiple personality disorder. Her dad starving himself to death. Her brother committing suicide because he was diagnosed as a schizophrenic. The movie title is Hereditary.
Yeah, so you're wondering throughout this movie, is she going insane? Did she inherit these mental illnesses? Or
is it diabolical shit going on? What's happening?
Yeah.
Is it
a
little
supernatural?
Bit of, is it a little both, or is it one because of the other? Or
it's that age-old question, like, is this mental illness or is it supernatural? You know?
Yes, actually, it might be.
So she goes there. She leaves.
Yep. And Annie, she feels like she's to blame in ways for a lot of bad stuff that happened with her mom, and I think that's why she at the end.
And then she actually clarifies it. She's like, I don't think I'm to blame, but I think I'm blamed.
Yes.
I think people blame me. I don't think so, but people blame me.
I feel blamed.
Yeah.
She may, and that's, I guess, obviously her mom did blame her.
I'm
for
like,
things,
girl,
so.
I know the feeling.
Oh, jeez. All right. Let's see, where are we at now? Oh, Peter is being a normal teenager at home, smoking pot in his room, and it's at night. He's like texting with his friends, but we get this view of
someone watching him.
Someone watching him. There's, and why we get this view is there's like a puff of air. It's cold outside, so we see this like puff of air
Someone's watching them in the treehouse, and you don't know who it is actually. But while they're watching him, he finds out about a party the next day.
And he's like, oh, I'm gonna go to that. I'm gonna ask my mom about that.
He's like, Mama, can I take the car?
Next day, it's the next morning, and Charlie's ventured outside. She's clicking away, clunking and clicking her mouth away, and
she saw this weird orb of light when she was inside, and it went outside, and she follows it out from the inside to the outside.
Yep. She sees this like strobe light effect happen, and it takes her to this forest, but a clearing in the forest, and then she sees a body out there. I mean, I don't have like quite the best view of the body to know whose it is, but somebody's out there amongst a fire.
And they're looking back, giving that creepy smile.
Maybe sacrificing themselves, or they're drugged up all to hell, and
yeah, and this light effect comes back into play throughout the movie, and it's like a light through a prism is what it reminds me of, that's flashing around.
And it's like got a ripple effect. It kind of leads you want to follow it.
Yeah, sometimes it consumes both edges of the room, and like a straight line scanning, almost like a laser scanning.
But it's kind of
But it reminds me of like a prism
iridescent color. And then at other times it's a floating orb. It's always the same color. You know it to be the same being or whatever it is.
Things are never good when this light's around.
Nope, it's not like something that you want. It's not angelic, even though with its like iridescent color, it seems like it at first. But this isn't an angelic movie. This is it's a horror movie.
So here she says, yeah, but you got to take your sister to the party, and Charlie doesn't really even seem like she wants to go. She's like, why do I got to go? And Mom's like, so you can be around other kids.
Yeah, and I need you out of the house.
Yeah, you can tell Mom's like maybe just frustrated, wants to normalize her daughter,
who seems just so aloof at times, and like maybe kind of going through the motions of life, and the only like piece she really finds seems to be creating these little figures of the trash that she finds.
Hey guys,
oh my goodness!
Funny moment. We're going through a toll, so Justine's gonna keep talking you through.
Oh, that's hilarious. Our ticket is like right down there. There you go, sir.
Okay, so Justine's gonna keep talking, but I pay our toll.
Okay, so there's so Charlie, she doesn't really want to go to the party though, and so the next thing we see is Peter and Charlie getting in the car, and they're driving down this like 2-lane highway. It's just this stretch of basically secludedness. You just see a lot of telephone lines stretching across this highway path.
Oh my god, guys, that was embarrassing.
We
usually try to make it where these things things don't happen.
Yeah, and
like we'll find a long stretch of road that we can record on.
we couldn't quite figure out miles-wise how far away the toll was. It wasn't really telling us on Waze app, guys.
So we're like, let's just go for it.
So we
Makes
just
it more real.
decided-
This is a road trip. You guys are with us on our road trip.
If you listen to Sleepaway Camp episode 2, then you also have an opportunity to hear us go through a toll. Like,
it's the second time it's happened in a couple of years.
it happens, guys. So, anyways, no, I just explained the 2-lane highway with the telephone line. So the last, so we're on the interstate, and we just stick. There's like the camera sticks on one of the telephone lines that has the same symbol.
It's like 3 little squiggly snakes with like a cross over it, right?
It's
like
four little squiggles, yeah, and it's got like
a line going
it's
across.
Almost like we're gonna basically figure out, it's like heads and decapitation. Okay, so what's
so
next?
now they're at the party.
They arrive at the party, and we immediately see
someone chopping nuts.
2 people chopping nuts, making chocolate cake, because that's what you do, when you're at your high school party.
At your high school party, you make homemade cakes.
Homemade cakes. They've been watching the British baking show.
I've never gone to a rager that didn't have a bake-off.
Josh, I won't go to a rager. I always RSVP to all my events, and so I follow it up with just a quick, is there going to be cake with nuts?
Yeah, I say I'm only coming if I get to chop the nuts.
Yeah. Because it doesn't matter if it's a cake with no nuts. Like, I need a Texas sheet cake, okay?
Fuck your party if there's no cake that I get to make.
No cake with nuts, then I'm not there. Oh, you've got pot? No biggie.
Sorry, I want to make a cake.
I want a cake. With nuts.
I want to do some beer pong.
Dim nuts.
And make some chopped nuts.
Yeah.
Anyway, so people are chopping nuts. You're like, oh, great, Charlie has a nut allergy. What's going to happen here?
We know it. So it's not that, it's an eventuality. We know, okay, when's she going to eat that cake? And now I'm sitting on pins and needles.
Mm-hmm. And so now they're just roaming. It's a pretty nice big party. He goes to smoke pot with his friends, tells his sister to hang back. She hangs back, and she finds this cake. It got baked pretty quick, I guess. And what does she do? She eats the cake with nuts, and then she starts feeling bad. You see her trying to chug water, and she finally finds her brother and tells her what's going on.
He's not like a shitty brother. Well, everybody's shitty in this movie to a certain extent.
But he didn't even protest when his mom was like, take your sister.
No, he kind of just scoops her up, and it's like, we're leaving. Obviously, her life is at stake. So he gets her in the car, and it's like, we're going to the hospital. But like I mentioned, it's just a 2-lane highway. It doesn't even look like it's the most populated of towns that these people live in. So it's a long stretch of also not the best lit road.
And he's driving fast. She's convulsing kind of in the back, thrashing, kicking, trying to get air.
She just she's telling him my throat's closing, it's getting bigger, and you feel so terrible for her.
And the music is so intense right here. It's really
it's this crazy orchestral thromping
your dread level, your anxiety is at a 10 during the scene. You're like, shit.
Yeah, I don't know how much higher I could have gone internally.
And he's like, we're almost to the hospital. I almost got you there. And she sticks her head out the window.
Right at this, okay, so it's a perfect storm. There's a dead animal carcass that's in the road. He swerves. He's going at a high speed. There's the telephone pole that we had mentioned earlier. Yep. He swerves. Her head hits the pole. It's immediately decapitated.
You hear that awful splat rip of the head.
It's repulsive.
And he stops the car.
There's also immediately there's no noise anymore.
Yeah,
there's
the
no
music goes away.
It's him heavy
You hear the
breathing.
car. You hear the white noise of the car. His breath.
He's kind of
in shock.
Coming to. He gets in trance, talks himself immediately okay, but he knows, he's totally aware.
He's like,
she's
go
dead.
home. He just drives home, parks, goes in, lays in the bed.
You hear parents say to each other they're laying in bed oh, they're home, good, but they don't get out.
Yeah.
He lays down, doesn't fall asleep, and then we hear from out
you hear Toni Collette stirring and like going out to her car in the morning.
And Gabriel Byrne, Steve character, being like, "All right, be safe on your drive."
And Peter's just laying in bed, wide-eyed, like
still in
shock,
trance, like.
And he listens to his mother just wailing when she finds what's going on.
There's obviously
or, like, screams.
Charlie's body has been left overnight in the back seat. It's
not good.
Not good.
It's worst case scenario.
Yeah, we cut to her head on the side of the road with ants. Obviously, the overnight critters have come, and it's just disgusting. It's disgusting.
It's hardcore.
It's
hardcore parkour.
It's revolting, and also, like, you should see this movie. Like, it's not what you want to see, but it is like.
So now, this movie continues to be. It starts off just kind of like a family drama, and it's still in that vein, but it's like heightened. It's like the family drama now, and now they're all coping with the loss
Yeah, we get kind of
Charlie.
a montage of them coping through her crying, the bereavement. We get Peter standing in the hallway just listening to his mom cry what you think is probably endless nights of her just sobbing. Her daughter's death it's an accident, but at the hand of her son, who was high, driving his sister to the hospital. She's also probably feeling a lot of blame. She insisted that Charlie go to this. That gets
brought up at an uncomfortable, like one of the worst family dinners in cinematic history.
Yeah, and we'll get to that. Okay, so that happens. Charlie dies. There's a funeral. And Annie has taken to sleeping in the treehouse, just like Charlie did. And the treehouse is illuminated at night by this like space heater that's like it's illuminated red.
Like red, yeah.
So it's obviously ominous. Something's going on in that treehouse. She's being lured to this treehouse.
Yep. More than just by its warmth.
And they're avoiding each other at all cost.
Yeah, tension is now rising in the house. Are we to the dinner?
We have a grief counseling, we get a scene where she's in the parking lot and she just can't really bring herself to go in. Annie's like, I want to go in, but I can't. So she starts to drive off, and this is where we meet our friend, Joan.
Yeah, she gets cut off by a lady, like, waving her arms, like, stop. And she's like, hi, I remember you from a couple months ago.
Hi, I'm Ann Dowd. I'm Joan.
Yeah, I remember you being in here talking about your mother. Did you come back? She's like, well, actually, my daughter's dead now.
Yeah. A sad just circumstance event.
And things get uncomfortable for a second until I end out. It's like, well, my son and grandson died. They drowned.
And that's why I come to these meetings. They drowned
she kind of talks her into becoming friends with her, gives her number.
She's like, give me a ring, girl. 8675309.
She's like making scissor.
Peter is having his own problems. He starts hearing the clunking sound of his sister, and that was a good one. And then he also takes to seeing her form in his bedroom. There's a few different scenes. Not yet, but like I'm just laying the foundation of like he's starting to see like her like an apparition of her form, like in clothing, that lumps of clothing that he leaves like on his chair. And Annie in her workroom, she starts to maybe build a scene of sorts that we start to see that she's wanting to make the telephone pole.
She's starting to make the accident to a miniature.
And that'll come up again, but we start to see her start to make it. And she spills, or maybe some entity spills this paint, reminding her that there's a number she should call.
Yeah, the paint spills on the number
Joan
gave her.
And so we then go to Joan's apartment, and Annie takes note immediately. Like, Joan answers the door, and she's like, oh, you have like a welcome mat similar to like what my mom used to make. And
how curious.
Joan's like, oh, whatever, like, cool. Come on in and let's chit chat about your daughter dying. And we
So
get
they
like
do.
more description of like how she found her body, and then we learn just something horrendous. She confesses that the reason why her son and her have at this point, such a terrible relationship is because even when they were younger, when our son and Charlie were children, because they were teenagers, that like she was sleepwalking, had these sleepwalking spells, and she ventured into a room that they shared at the time and poured paint thinner on the both of them while sleepwalking, and then lit a match to light them all on fire. But it was the match that caused her to wake up, and her son wake up, and he realized that his mother was trying to kill him, and he's never been able to forgive her, basically.
Well, yeah, I don't blame him.
Exactly. Like, that's fucking crazy. And like, why was she not like hospitalized? Like,
yeah, because she was sleepwalking. She didn't know she was doing it.
so now
Anyway.
it's a little bit like, maybe Steve, the psychologist father's a little bit of an enabler in a way. Like, he wants to take care of everybody just himself. Like, there's a lot of nurturing going on, but maybe not a lot of mental help. Okay, yeah, so Peter and Annie's relationship's forever changed for that. And then now he's, killed his sister accidentally. Later that day, Steve checks in on Annie's work because she also needs to be creating things. She's supposed to be preparing for an art gallery.
Yeah.
And he finds that scene that she's creating, and he's like, oh, what the fuck? You know what? We have dinner.
Let's
Get down
downstairs.
here.
So they get down there. It's not a good dinner. It looks yummy.
Yeah, it's actually
But
like
the
healthy.
conversation is really stifled, and then it gets really bad. They start talking about how they're pointing fingers. It's a conversation of pointing fingers. You did this. You couldn't even admit to what you did.
And why do I even want to talk to you when one of my favorite lines in the movie, like with that look on your face on your face.
Yeah.
Like, what are you looking at me with your face on your face?
With that face on your face.
It's just like it's just that overwhelming resentment that they have for each other.
Basically, like, well, I guess it's later she says, I never wanted you.
No, not yet. But like, she just admits that like, what has happened has changed them forever, and she can't take it back because neither of them really want to take responsibility. Nobody wants to take responsibility for the deterioration of their family.
And he mentions, though, well, why did she go? You wanted her to go to the party.
Yeah, a little jab at the end. Like, the conversation was supposed to be ended, but it leaves on this note of like, blame. You're to blame for your daughter's death.
Game.
Kind of like, oh yeah, back to what she was saying in her grief counseling, like, I'm to blame at some points. And so the next day she runs into Joan at an art supply store because she's got to keep working.
And Joan doesn't know the meaning of personal space. She's all up in her space, pulling at her, tugging at her, saying, you've got to come to my house. I had an experience with a seance.
Wonderful.
I talked to my little
dead grandson.
What's his name?
Louis.
I
need you to come to my house, and you've got to experience it and know it firsthand.
And she's skeptical. Toni Collette, or Annie, is skeptical, but she goes.
Yeah, she's skeptical, but she's just desperate.
And she goes from
sure.
skeptical to scared as shit because things do start happening. Little Louie's writing on the chalkboard. Little Louie's making things move, making air blow on hers. Lighting a candle.
It's convincing.
And so she now is convinced and she wants to do this herself at home. And Dowd tells her, take this, you say these words exactly as they are written, and then it will happen for you. But you have to have your whole family involved.
Yes.
You have to have Peter,
Everybody's
and your husband
there.
Has to be there.
And you say these things. She's like, well, what is this?
She's like, I'm just trying to enchant your whole family.
Yeah.
They all need to be there.
Well, she's like, I don't know what the words are. It's kind of like Ash from Evil Dead, like just saying like incantations that he doesn't know, and then releasing this crazy demon.
This is the really fucked up
This is the
version.
If it got really crazy
of Evil Dead.
Yeah.
This is the family-centered Evil Dead.
Yes, absolutely.
So she does.
To an extent, yes.
She does go home, right, and tries to get them all to do
Okay,
this.
so she goes home and she's sleeping and she has a nightmare where it's like a nightmare within a nightmare. She has this vision
She's
of
seeing
her
the
being in
ants.
her son's room and his face being covered in ants, and then she wakes up from that and goes to his room again, but this time she's almost lighting him on fire, admitting that like she never wanted him, that she like absolutely tried to get rid of him and have a miscarriage.
Yeah, she said, I never wanted to be your mother, and then she's like shocks herself that she said it.
Yeah, and when she's saying this, we think she's really saying this to him. We don't know that it's a nightmare,
Another one, nightmare
yeah,
in a nightmare.
She's like having a nightmare in a nightmare, but we don't know this, so we're like, I remember the first time I heard her say it, I was like, in my head, like, you're the worst fucking human being. Like, I can't believe you just said that to this grieving boy.
Yeah.
But it is. It's just a terrible nightmare, which I'm glad it is. But yeah, in that nightmare, she does try to light them on fire, but that's what wakes her up, and then she decides that's what drives her to go into the next room. We hear her say the incantation, and we hear her say like Payman Sanctum, all this stuff. It's off camera, but we hear her, and then she goes and wakes up Peter and Steve because she's convinced something, or she's telling them something's happened. You've got to come downstairs.
And she's manic about it too.
I believe her. I believe
she's
that
like
something's
overly
already
excited.
happened.
She's like, get down there, come on. And she shows them the notebook that Charlie has been drawing, and she's like, kind of how little Louie was writing on the chalkboard.
Something manifested in the notebook. And like they need to put their hands together, and then Charlie will show herself. Well, something shows itself. We're sure it's Charlie at some point, because so there's like shit that breaks, and then Annie gets
possessed
by Charlie, it seems.
And she's like, where am I? What's going on? Why are you guys so scared? Yeah, talking like Charlie, and Peter is freaking out.
He's crying.
Gabriel Byrne's
sobbing.
dad is like, stop this right now. He's trying to get control of the situation.
Peter is like bawling his eyes out, and it's just it's an emotional scale that's happening in the room.
It's notching up to a 10, and then Dad gets like a pitcher of water, or I guess the flowers.
There was a glass of water, and just tosses it on Annie, and that breaks her up, from whatever had overtaken her. And she's like, what happened? Peter goes upstairs and again is just sitting on his bed because he can't sleep. And now even crazier shit has happened. Annie, oh my God, what has she done? Yeah. Something has come into the house now. Is it Charlie?
I think it is. They go to school the next day.
Yeah.
They try to live their normal lives, but at school something possesses Peter. We see that light again. It's coming for Peter.
We get this really crazy scene where he looks in a reflection in this like bookcase,
sees himself smiling at himself.
But it's something inside him.
It's that grin we've been seeing on everybody else, and then all of a sudden he just starts pounding his face into his desk,
contorting his face, breaking his nose on his desk, slamming. He's scaring everybody in the classroom. His teacher is scared.
Yeah.
We get we go back to the house at this point, and it's Annie, and she's doing her own like fucking like downward spiral where she tries to go to Joan's house, and Joan won't answer her door. She's like, please let me in, something's happened. We see the camera shows us like there seems to be like witchcraft paraphernalia,
and you also
all
see
over.
some of the Charlie's little gadgets that she had made are on her table.
Yeah, and we see a picture of Peter, and so shit's going down in Joan's apartment.
And before Peter bashed his face, and Anne was at his school screaming at him from the distance, saying like, Peter,
I expel you!
Get out! And you're like, what the fuck is she doing? So then we get back to the house. Everyone's back at the house. Gabriel Byrne had to pick up Peter from school. Not yet.
But Annie finds her dead mother upstairs in the attic.
Yes, before they get home, the dead mother is found.
And so when when Steve and Peter show
and her head
up,
is chopped off.
Yes, yeah.
And She's nasty.
When Steve and Peter show up, she's like, one, like distraught because she sees that Peter's face is like fucked up, and she's trying to tell Steve, like, I need you to go up into the attic. You need to see there's a dead body in there. I'm pretty sure it's my mom, but the head's gone, so
like,
I don't
I think
know.
It's just a raccoon. It's probably, she's like, no, it's dead.
Go
my
up
dead
there.
mother.
So he goes up there, comes back down. He's like, what the fuck? Why haven't you called the cops? And she's like, because I'm pretty sure I let something loose when I said the incantation last night.
We've got to burn this book. That's the only way to get rid of it. It's connected to us all now.
And I tried to burn the book when you guys were out of the house.
But
it burnt my arm. And so I think I'm linked to it. So you have to do it. So please do it. She's pleading with him.
He won't do it.
So we've got Peter upstairs who's like conked out after his like face reconstruction he did, and he doesn't hear anything that's going on. And down there, Steve and Annie are screaming at each other. She's pleading with him, please throw it in the fire. He won't. She throws it in the fire, and he ignites. He like combusts. She's freaking like
this girl is on fire.
Gabriel Byrne is on fire. Yeah, it's not this girl. It's Gabriel Byrne is on fire. So she is watching him scared. He's on fire. It's obvious she's not going to be able to put him out. But what happens is you also see a change in her facial features. She goes from being scared to just being
and you see that light come over
possessed,
her too.
And the strobe happens on her body.
And you're like, oh shit.
So
it just entered her and not vaginally.
Yes. Okay, so also while she was at home going through her downward spiral, she came upon her mother's books. And she did, well, no, this isn't a sexual movie. We're not taking it there.
Well, we could.
Well, we could. She came all over those books, maybe. So she opens up the boxes finally, goes through the books, and she finds like all of this information about her mother and the Joan lady.
Yeah, there's pictures of them doing like cultish
friends
shit.
For years. Like there's young pictures of them, and then them like from last week, like bowing down at the picture of her family. So it's a picture in a picture, and all of these
two pictures.
We find out that they're a cult of. So it's Paimon, which is a king of hell.
One of the eight kings.
Because I guess there's kingdoms in hell, and it's Lucifer is like the overlord, but then there's other kings, and so Paimon is like one of them. He's like, I guess, a big demon, like an archangel.
People think he's cool.
He's cool, and he requires sacrifices to be made by decapitation, beheading, but he also wants to be in the bodies of men. So he is like a spirit that needs to constantly be moving from one body to the next, and he likes male bodies.
You get some of this exposition when she's flipping through these books.
Right, yeah, she's looking through the books and reading about Paimon.
So you're getting all this thrown at you. You're seeing pictures of these ceremonies with their grandmother.
We see a picture of Paimon, and he has like a bag with some heads. It's 3 heads. A lot of alluding to maybe some shit that's been happening, some decapitations.
Heads will roll.
Because now we have a headless grandma up in the attic. Yeah. And we've got Headless Charlie. So there's 2 out of 3 heads.
We need another one.
Okay, so, all right. So so the burning has happened, and Annie she's now, we believe she's now Paimon. Yeah. And Peter wakes up from his nap. He's a sleepy boy, so he got
tired.
He's a nap boy because he got concussion.
And Mommy pats his back, and he falls asleep and sleeps so good.
And so he got all tucked in, a little bottom tap.
But then he wakes up and sees Charlie in the corner, and he's like, Charlie, and then Charlie's head falls off and becomes a ball.
Clunk, and he just keeps hearing this thunk. You always hear Charlie. She's kind of like making her clunking sounds all the time for all the fams.
All the clunking.
So she clunks, and he wakes up, and her head rolls off, but it's just a ball. But the real scary part happens when the camera pans up into the left corner, and you see Spider Annie.
Spider Annie, moving as fast as Spider Annie can.
And she's perched up in the corner of the ceiling of the wall, like it's watching her son sleep. He's got an idea that he's being watched.
You know what my first thought was? I don't think she's up to any good.
Some guy do something.
Some guy do something.
And I think it's her.
I think it's her up in the corner.
I think she is up to no good. Okay.
Something's up.
So,
You see her crawl off.
yeah, because he's like looking around, and whenever he takes his eyes off, she sails out of the room. So maybe he feels something.
Yeah.
He gets pulled out of the room
down,
too. Goes down.
finds-
Goes down into the living room.
Finds charcoal daddy.
Finds dear old dad.
He's like, maybe there's some burnt ends.
We gonna get some Gabriel burnt ends.
We're gonna get some Gabriel burnt ends when we're in
Oh
Kansas
my
City.
gosh. Play on game and words.
Play on play.
So, okay, so now we have Peter. He's in the living room. He's seen his charred up father.
He's not happy about it.
He's not happy about it. He knows that his mother is somewhere. Like he can feel it. But she's up in the rafters now, constantly watching him. She just keeps being up there, being Spider Annie. Here's my next scary fucking part.
Like jumping down.
Not yet. Penis man.
Oh yeah, he sees a penis man in the corner.
So
Naked old man in the
see
corner.
a man, just a white 50-something-year-old man lit in like the shadow of a doorway with a big smile on his face. Oh, there's junk out.
Junk out.
I just want to give you guys a picture. Y'all need that picture.
Lit from above, junk out.
Junk out, lit up above, lit junk. Some lit junk. I mean, balls out, guys. It's all there.
Yeah.
Do you have any more to share about that,
That's
Josh?
it.
Okay.
Balls out.
Balls out. So he sees balls out, turns around, sees his mom, jump scare, mom in the corner. Here she comes, running for
She
him.
like bolts for him too, so he takes off, runs upstairs. His only way out, he climbs up into the attic, pulls the attic,
Which is
attic
just
door up,
conveniently down.
and he's up there, and he's like, "Mom!"
He pulls it up. He doesn't want mommy coming up, and there's this banging, and so he's like, "No, mom, no, mom."
Mom, mommy.
We get the reverse side of it, and it's her banging her head.
She's like floated up to the top. She's holding on, just banging her head on the attic door. It's really fucking unnerving.
We're out of 10, like anxiety out of 10.
Yeah, it's that music's going. She's banging her head. He finds Headless Grandma.
He finds a picture.
That's
No,
right.
he does not find Headless Grandma.
It's like
She's
the
been
print
moved.
of her,
Yeah.
like
wherever she was,
yeah.
she is not now.
She left a print, and you can tell it was headless.
But what we do find is a picture of him with cigarette burns of his eyes out. They don't want his soul being in his body
That
anymore.
freaks him out, and then he hears something up in the corner again. Somehow Annie is now in the attic. She's up in the corner, and she is cutting her head off with I guess maybe like a piano string.
Yeah, it's like piano wire. She's sawing her own
she's sawing
head
it off, and there's
We
blood splurting. You get these gross close-ups of her.
So it's a gross, amazing.
She has that scary
terrible
blank face
image.
as she's doing it.
She's taken over. I mean, it's definitely Pieman's pulling the strings.
Yeah.
Like he's asking again for this additional sacrifice, and she's willing to give it.
And Peter falls out the window.
No, he sees people up in the attic.
Oh, that's right. There's more
There's
people
just
in the
more
attic.
naked people.
It just keeps getting intense.
That's what
and
scares
intense
him.
and
It's like
intense.
because he sees his mom floating up there, sawing her own head off, and he's like, "Oh my God!" slapping himself, like, "Please, dear God, let this just be a crazy dream." Looks, and there's 3 fucking naked people up in the attic that he was supposed to be in by himself.
Yeah.
He jumps out the attic, plummets to his death.
So you think.
We see this shadow effect drape over him, and we will find out that it's just Annie floating above him as she's soaring over to the treehouse.
And he sees it. He wakes up in time to see her
We see
float up
the
into the treehouse.
orb.
Yeah.
We see the orb descend into him, and we get that little strobe effect as it looks like Pieman is now taking over his body.
I knew that strobe had something to do with something.
That strobe was something.
It was
It was the something that had to do with the something. You're right.
Damn.
God, that was poetic.
Fucking stuff.
We're almost there, guys. Okay. So we now,
He gets up
Peter
and
gets
slowly
up,
walks up into the
follows his
treehouse.
headless mother into the treehouse, who has now assumed a kneeling position in front of this big, this full scale of the little miniatures that Charlie used to make.
Yeah.
Of the makeshift, like,
and
you
it
know.
has her head on it.
It does.
And then you have the 3 bodies bowing down to it.
And we have headless Ellen Grandma.
Yep.
Headless Mommy Annie. And Joan.
Yep.
She is also providing some exposition.
She's talking it out to Peter. She's saying,
talking it out to us too.
Yeah, to us too. It's like she knows we're watching.
And that we don't know what the fuck is going on.
And she's talking to him as if it's still Charlie. She's like, don't worry, Charlie. You're safe.
Yeah.
Payman wanted a male body.
Yep.
He's in one now.
You're actually Payman.
You are Payman.
Causes us to believe that, was Charlie ever really Charlie? Like, if... Maybe not.
She was at birth, but got taken over as soon as
titty sucking,
big titty grandma,
big titty sucking grandma.
Put her titty in her mouth,
tit mouth.
She got tit mouthed and became possessed. That's how it happens. Isn't that how it happened in The Exorcist? She got tit mouthed.
Okay, so tit mouth.
Tit mouth.
So Joan is like, don't worry, this is all for you. Your headless grandmother and your mother. We were all. Unbeknownst to them, we were all just pawns in Payman's game, but we're gonna get rich.
Yeah, we're all gonna be awesome.
You guys are sacrificing for us, and we worship you.
Yeah.
So we get this clunk.
Everyone's, Hail Payman!
Hail Payman!
And there's more naked people in there now saying
Oh,
it.
there's like dangling bits from all regions.
And
we get this pull out.
And you see those dangling bits.
We see more dangling bits, but we see that now
they're in the miniature.
It's a miniature of
the treehouse.
The treehouse, and there's what we've just seen, but all in miniature form now.
It's like he's telling us they had no control over their destiny.
Like, who created all the miniatures?
Well, maybe Payman. Payman loves art.
What I've come to...
He loves a craft shop.
What I've come to realize is that in this movie, whenever you question what has happened, or why it happened, or, the circumstances that brought it about, it's just Payman.
It's Payman.
It's just Payman. So, hail Payman!
Hail Payman!
We're gonna go see...
But not really.
No, not at all. In fact, not at all. So we're gonna go see some miniature houses and eat some burnt ends.
Yeah, we're gonna see a lot of like little dioramas like Annie made, and hopefully Payman doesn't follow us.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do everything we can to not have that happen. Yeah. Maybe we'll need to do some sitting tonight, some cleansing, a face mask. You know I love a face mask.
Yeah, so we're gonna go have fun in Kansas City, eat barbecue, go to the Miniature Museum or the National Museum of Toys and Miniatures.
Try to not think about the Graham family for the next
24
hours or so, and then get back with you guys. And
just a fun little 24-hour trip to Kansas City.
Chat more. Chit chat more. Knives ratings. What's next? All the shiz. See you in a bit.
See you in just 2 seconds.
See you in a tit. Bye.
And we're back, guys.
Hello. We're back in the car, back on the road, and back in Oklahoma.
Yep, we're in Oklahoma. We're about 80-something miles out of Oklahoma City. So we're getting close. We've had a wonderful 24 hours in Kansas City, Missouri.
Yeah, we're ready to wrap it up.
Yeah, but first we want to give a little shout out to a couple people. First, we would like to give a shout out to our Instagram friend, Josh, also known as the Torn Prince Brightside, if you want to follow him on Instagram. Thank you so much for your awesome review on Apple Podcasts. We saw it. We appreciate it. We love it. We love you.
We appreciate you. And then also shout out to another review. Thank you so much. Seabell 1998. Seabell 1998. We love you. We see you.
We see you. We love you.
Thank you. You guys, you're awesome. Okay.
Yeah, moving on. Just wanted to throw that out there because it really does help us when we get reviews and star ratings.
Be grateful.
So, yeah, we're so grateful.
We're so grateful.
So yeah, back to our trip. We first pulled into Kansas City, which is a really nice little city. No, I'm not being
It's
pedantic.
not a little city.
Not a little city. I'm not trying to be a dick. But it's a nice city. I should just keep it at that.
Yes.
We had a really great time in just the 24 hours we were there. We rolled in. It's a beautiful, hilly little city. I keep saying little city. Everything's a little. Everything's a little. And we immediately went to our destination.
We went to the Minatures Museum.
The National Museum of Toys and Miniatures.
And it was really cool. It was exactly what we thought it was going to be and more. And it was kind of huge. There was a large collection.
Two floors. First floor is the miniatures, which we were there for primarily because of Hereditary. And you know what? It was the perfect spot for Hereditary. It is exactly what you see the character Annie doing. Even we watched some videos of how some of the work is done, and it just reminded me of the film. Her sitting there painting. And
yes, it's a craft for sure.
A very delicate craft.
You gotta have some real steady hands, as well as be, artistic.
Very patient, probably too, because you're manipulating tiny little objects. And
a lot of manipulations.
And a lot of work for just one little thing. We watched this video about a lady making a plate.
Little plate.
All the work that goes into just her making this little tiny plate. The hours of work.
Beautiful
and painting
little tiny plate. She's a little tiny plate maker.
Yeah, she's an artist, man.
And so it was really interesting walking around, seeing all these different types of miniatures, and how just to make a house, all the little tiny pieces to make even a chest of drawers for a little scene, all the little delicate pieces that would have to be put together. I greatly developed an appreciation for this type of craft.
Yeah, it's apparently an art form that began like in the 20s and 30s is when like the miniature craze first started, and it's kind of gone from there. It's very niche, obviously. Like, these people are artists, they can commission and get money for this stuff, but I'm sure some of them are holding down second jobs.
Yeah, it's probably a little bit, got to get another side hustle kind of life,
but they're doing what Annie's doing. You know, these people probably see this as a way of controlling their environments. You know, maybe it says something that this became like a craze during the Great Depression. It was a way for people to feel like they had some control over what was happening.
You know, with all those Great Depressions happening and stock market crashing and Dust Bowl and anywho, after we left that fun exhibit and the gallery and all that, we went and ate some delicious Kansas City barbecue at Arthur Bryant's.
Yes, we went to Arthur Bryant's. It apparently has been like the place to go for barbecue for a long time in Kansas City. Presidents have eaten there. Famous folk go in there. There's pictures all over the wall of everyone that eats there. And it's you wait in one line. There's one cash register. You walk through the line. It's like a greasy spoon type joint, but it's very lively. The energy's really nice in there for being such like kind of like a crazy like manic atmosphere. It's very loud and boisterous in there, but it feels authentic. It's the real deal in there.
Food is delicious.
It was some of the best barbecue eats I've had in a long time.
Yeah, very comfort foodie. All the sides, baked beans, a potato casserole,
French fries, coleslaw. We like to order a little bit of everything and share. It's just like how
we're
we
like
what
a
we
shareables kind of friendship.
We're like, everything sounds good, so let's get a little bit of everything and just eat it all together.
Do that. Do you just want to do tizzers tonight? Sure. Let's just do some appetizers.
Let's just get a few tizzers and share them.
Tizzers my life. Okay, yeah. So we got burnt ends, and then we got a bunch of sides, and game-changing, life-changing.
I mean, it has
that's barbecue.
It has nothing to do with Hereditary unless we say like the burnt ends represented Gabriel Byrne.
Yes, I thought that's where we were going.
All the barbecue sauce was like maybe from Charlie's Severed Head.
Yes.
The coleslaw, what would that be?
Weird.
The baked beans represent the ants.
want to tell you about that amazing food. So if you're in Kansas City, you should definitely stop off at Arthur Bryant's BBQ.
Yeah, we definitely ate. We also went to a place called Andres for dessert because we ate lunch, but then we ate so much at Arthur Bryant's that we were not hungry for dinner, but we were like, let's go get a bunch of dessert and share it.
So we shared some desserts, some patisseries and cakes and just mousses, things like that.
Yeah, very French, very European style, delicate treats. Like, we got like this chocolate dome with mousse and little lemon tarts and all, just
coffee. It was yummy. And then at the hotel, they had a 2-hour complimentary drink hour. So we got our drink on.
Yeah, we had like at least 3 free drinks at the hotel.
Yeah.
Thank you, Embassy Suites in Kansas City.
And then like the free hot buffet breakfast. That's a nice hotel.
They
treating
took
us
care
nice.
of us.
So we had like a little spa. There was a hot tub, sauna, swimming pool area.
We had like we were in like a suite, so we had a little living room area where we did some yoga after we had eaten, and I wanted to barf my guts up.
Living our best life.
Just trying to stay fit with all the food we eat.
Oh my goodness, when we go to Kansas City, we've got to eat barbecue, and then we got to do yoga to make up for it.
Then we watched a lot of ghost shows.
Yeah, Ghost Adventures and Ghost Hunters, all that stuff was on the Travel Channel, so
that was our evening.
Why not? We were traveling, so
now we're headed back to Oklahoma City.
We are. We thought we'd cover our I don't know if it's my fave. Well, it's my fave scene in the movie. This is a movie where, it's certainly not your favorite because there's so much visually that you're like, oh, I don't want my eyeballs repeatedly seeing that.
Yeah.
But, obviously scenes that really sparked us and compelled us to keep watching.
Well, you go first. What's yours?
Okay, I'll go first. Okay. I really liked the seance scene between Joan and Annie.
Bitch, you picked my scene.
Well, fuck you, because it's my scene, because you told me to go first.
Damn it, I gotta think of something else. Okay.
I'm going to talk about it, so you think about what yours is. Okay. So this scene, to me, is like, I'm all in. It's sold to me. I totally believe that there's like ghosts going on. It's nefarious, and I don't know exactly like who the ghost is. If it's Louis, I seriously doubt that it's Louis in the way that.
Could even be Aunt Dowd herself.
Yeah, like I think it might just be Payman who is doing all of this. Invisible work, and I think that I have my own like little. What I think might have happened to Aunt Dowd's son's character. Like, I think Joan is totally honest about telling Annie that her son and grandson died and that they drowned. But I think there might have been a little, something malevolent that happened there as well. And she's a creepy lady who invades personal space like nobody's business. And so this scene to me is it's scary, and even though it's not really relatable, I think a lot of us have felt like we've at least in our brains created this idea that we felt something in a hallway or something brushed across me. And so I totally get creeped out. This is my fave scene.
And it just keeps getting heightened and heightened, and it's so creepy because Aunt Dowd is using her sincerity as her way to like sink her claws into her.
Yes.
Because this is the scene where she really gets her. This is where they take all the things they've probably been planning and they really get the ball rolling by getting Toni Collette.
All the instructions on the seance.
She finally passes on that information to Toni Collette to get her to read and to do that seance, to bring out,
It was the icing on the cake.
Mm-hmm.
It was exactly what that push that was needed for Joan to, lay that foundation of like, if you just do this, if you say this, you're going to be able to talk to Charlie, and hello, Annie's unstable.
Yeah.
Like, she's going to do it. She's going to go home, and she's going to do a seance, and she's going to invite Payman unknowingly into herself and be like a vessel. Oops.
And the tension, it just keeps getting scarier and scarier, and then, everything crescendos and becomes... And she finally just has to leave.
Yeah,
she's like, I'm fucking out of here.
I do think I'd probably I totally get that reaction as well. Like, okay, things are happening, but like, I gotta get the hell out of here because I'm like so
really
uncomfortable.
scared,
I'm really
yeah.
scared, and I don't know. Like my brain's having a really hard time like compartmentalizing everything that's just happened. I gotta go.
Yeah.
So, okay, sorry. I also have a fave scene that's your fave scene. So, what's your fave scene
I
now?
guess my favorite. I mean, the whole movie's great, but I'm gonna go with like the last 20 minutes of the movie.
Oh God, you are so dark then.
Well, it's when shit just hits the
Hi,
fan.
I'd like to start with the head banging and lead to
And,
the
like,
next song.
And speaking of crescendoing, it's like the whole movie's been leading to this moment. Like, you know, it is kind of, for some people it's a slow burn. To me it's not, because it's continually interesting.
Yes.
I'm in it the whole time wondering, like, what the fuck is gonna happen? And this is what happens.
And there's a lot of those kind of crescendo scenes throughout
Mhm.
the telephone pole, you know, the
It's like
building
the
up
second he
allergy.
sees, the second that he sees his dad burn, and then she comes running at him.
at that corner. He sees that man
Yeah.
standing there with his dick out
It
and
just-
grinning.
It just becomes almost unbearably frightening. Like they're going for Peter.
Yes, and she is now or mom, Annie's the vessel that Payman's using at the moment.
Yeah, and that image of her floating up in the attic corner, sawing her head off with like a piano wire. I'll never get it out of my head.
You can't unsee things.
Even if I saw my head off with a piano wire, I'll never get it out.
Don't see these things, friend.
Well, just don't
Don't.
call Payman into our lives, okay?
Exactly. Like, don't take your new friend's advice and recite some language you don't know about some dark lord of hell.
One of the 8 kings of hell. I'm like, I didn't even know there were 7, let alone 8 kings of hell.
I thought there was just one.
I thought it was just Lucifer.
Just Lucifer, but I guess it's like him, and then not like the 7 dwarves, but the 8 kings of hell.
There's
He's like
Sleepy
Snow White
and Doc. Those are the other kings of hell.
Payman and oh goodness. Okay, so Knives rating. I guess I'll go since I
Sure.
trade back in for.
Sure.
Okay. Well, I just this groundbreaking kind of horror needs to have a rating to match. I say 5 Knives.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 5 Knives too. It really was kind of a pinnacle in horror. We had heard some buzz about it before it came out, and we tried to avoid the trailer. Anytime Justine and I were in a movie and the trailer came on, we were like weirdos, closing our eyes, like plugging in our ears and humming, just because we had heard someone suggest, like, hey, don't see a trailer, don't see anything about this movie before it comes out. So like the second we would know that it was the Hereditary trailer, we were like dodging it forever.
It opened with that funeral scene.
Yeah.
The camera just kind of slowly descending down into the grave, and so we knew, like, oh, okay, we can't watch this.
Yeah.
Out of sight, out of mind.
So it really paid off though doing that, because we went in really not knowing anything about the movie.
No, and I'm not going to say that this movie doesn't have its, faults, or that there's maybe little holes in the story or whatever. Like, that's not, it's like not even my big worry at all.
There's
like,
nothing glaring.
It's not. No, it's like people that want to be picky and like just it's just a little overboard for me. So I really enjoyed it. It scares me every time I see it. The music, I love it. It's a really phenomenal score.
Yeah.
And
has just some painfully scary imagery.
Yeah. Not things that I thought I would want to see, but they're scary.
I mean, I even now, when I watch it, sometimes I fast forward watch through some scenes.
Yeah, or
and
I'll
I'm
just decide that, I'm going to go put something away in this moment.
Yeah,
just not look at the TV at all.
Did my dryer just ding? Is it time to get the clothes out?
Oh, I just need to go down the hall and check on this one item really quickly, and the head's off.
I think I need to go fart in the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back.
Fart in the bathroom. Well, usually if I'm in my own room, I don't worry too much about
Well,
where
you
I
might
fart,
not want to stink up where you sleep, girl.
Okay. You light a candle, maybe. Some essential oils, but yeah. Turn down the volume real low. Don't need to hear Charlie gasping for air and thrashing around, and then the big splatter happen. Or whenever Toni Collette's hanging up in the ceiling, sawing her throat off, to hear the kind of like squeegee-esque sound that's happening as
and you
blood
hear the
spurts
blood
out. Like,
splurting. Yeah.
don't need it necessarily. Gonna turn down the volume, and I'm like a heavy like 30, 35, 40 volume player.
Wow.
So, to have to turn it down that much
Pains you.
it hurts.
But not as much as listening
And
to Toni Collette wail and
Oh, yeah.
scream in agony after finding her daughter dead without a head.
Oh, yeah, I guess that too. Yeah, a lot of this it's a little thumb exercise, this movie. Okay, so, yeah, you said five knives.
Yeah, I think it's a game changer.
Game changer, horror game changer, genre game changer.
The
Hashtag game changer.
introduction of Ari Aster into the horror genre is a game changer.
Ari Aster.
His movies, they're genre unto themselves.
Yes, and we'll totally try to figure out a road trip to cover Midsommar. It's gonna happen.
If you have any ideas, let us know where we should go to cover Midsommar.
Send them our way. Swing them our way.
Yes.
Well, all right. Done with that. On the shelf now.
Yeah, we'll be coming at you next month with episode 49, which will be Evil Dead 2. If you remember, we covered Army of Darkness and Evil Dead 1 last year. So now we're sneaking back in and getting that middle one taken care of. And
getting
we're excited.
That trilogy taken care of.
We're going back to our cabin in the woods that we went to last year and had a lot of fun.
In Broken Bow, Oklahoma.
Yeah,
the Tall Oaks cabin, specifically.
Yes. Play our game that's set in Tall Oaks, too.
Yes, we're excited. We'll take things to roast s'mores and make our hot dogs and just have a good old time. Cabin in the woods weekend, go on hikes and all kinds of fun stuff. Okay.
But in the meantime, check us out on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We're on all the places. ScreamQueensPodcast.com for now.
Yes.
Rate and review us. Like we said, it really helps us out. Whatever platform you listen on, give us a review.
We'll give you a
that.
shout out.
Yeah, give us that 5 stars. Let us know that you've given us a review so we can, give you your name. Say your name.
And we recently kind of announced our upcoming podcasts for most of this year. Check it out on our Instagram page. All right.
Love you. Bye.
Peace out. Bye.